Welcome back, Crammers, to question 1. Here are 5 discs. Each disc has a number on it. The 5 discs arranged to make the number 41283. Show how all 5 discs can be arranged to make the smallest number. We simply take the smallest number, 1, and then we move on, 2, move on, 3, move on, 4, move on, 8. Moving on. Show how all 5 discs can be arranged to make the largest even number. So we start with the largest one, 8, then 4, then 3. Now we can either put in 1, 2 or 2, 1. But since 1 is an odd number, we want to have the largest even number. So simply at the end we write 2 and then here we put 1. Now, work out which of the 5 discs are a factor of 21. So factors means it's divisible. 21 is divisible by 1 and 3 because when dividing 21 by 4, 2, or 8, it gives us a decimal. That means it is not a factor. So we write here 1 and 3. Which of the 5 numbers are prime numbers? So prime number is anything that's divisible by 1 and one other number. So we can see here. 4 is divisible by 2, 1, and 4. So that is not a prime number. Okay, so we can put here. 1, it is divisible by 1, but it has to be divisible by at least one other number. 1 is divisible by 1 and itself, but these are a single number. It's a single number. We need at least one number, which is 1, and one other number. So this is not prime number. Then 8 can be divided by 4, 2, and 1. So this is not it. 2 and 3 are our prime numbers. Question 2. The pictogram shows information about the number of emails Sophie received on each of the 4 days. Of which of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday did Sophie receive the least number of emails? So they're only asking Monday to Thursday. And in those parameters, Wednesday is the least. So we can write here, Wednesday. Find the ratio of the number of emails Sophie received on Monday to the number of emails Sophie received on Tuesday. Give your ratio in its simplest form. So Monday, we can say there were 4. And Tuesday, we can see there were 2.5. Since we can't actually have decimals in a ratio, we simply multiply both sides by 2. And we get 8 is to 5. On Friday, Sophie received 14 emails. Show this information on the pictogram. Now, the key shows that one box represents 4 emails. So 14 divided by 4 is equal to 3.5. So we have to draw exactly 3.5 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, and 0.5 boxes. There we go. On Friday, 6 of the 14 emails Sophie received were from Camille. Write 6 as a fraction of 14. Write your fraction in the simplest form. So 6 as a fraction of 14 is simply 6 over 14. But this is not the simplest form. Since both sides are divisible by 2, we can simply write 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that gives us 3 over 7. On Friday, Sophie received 14 emails. On Saturday, she received 11, and on Sunday, she received 6. Draw a bar chart to show the number of emails Sophie received on each of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Complete the frequency axis. So if we count one unit as 2 emails, we can simply write that Friday, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We draw here. Okay. Saturday, she received 11, so that's 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And for Sunday, she received 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3 and gives us our histogram. Question 3. Complete the following estimates by writing a suitable metric unit on each of the dotted lines. The distance from Paris to Berlin is about 1,000. So when dealing with far distances, we write kilometers. A bucket holds about 5 dash of water. Now when dealing with a large quantity of liquids, we write liter. The area of the screen on a mobile phone is about 90. So it's actually quite small. And for small, we use centimeter. And it's talking about area. So we simply write centimeter squared. Write down an estimate for the height of a bedroom door in a house. Use a suitable metric unit. So I know that's about 1.8 meters to maybe like 2.2 meters. Question 4. Here are three 3D shapes, ABC. Write down the mathematical name for each of these 3D shapes. We can see that this is a 3D circle, so that means it's a sphere. We can see that this goes up and tapers off at one point while having a base. That means this is a cone. And any shape elongated is simply a prism. How many faces does shape C have? So let's count. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't forget the front and back. 7, 8. How many vertices does shape C have? So those are all the corners. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. Here is a solid prism made from bricks. The bricks are identically triangular prisms. So that means that this prism is equal to this prism. Okay? The volume of the prism is 54 centimeters cubed. Work out the volume of each brick. So if we can count how many bricks there are in this, then we divide 54 by that quantity. Now we can see here that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 faces. However, it's doubled on the back. We can't actually see, but there is one here, then there's one here, then there's one here, then there's one here. So we simply multiply it by 2. And that's our total quantity. So we have 54 divided by 2 times 9, which is simply 54 divided by 18. And we can use our calculator here. 54 divided by 18 gives us 3. Question 5. The table shows the temperature recorded in Amsterdam at 6 a.m. on each of 5 days. What is the range of the temperatures in the table? So range is simply equal to largest minus smallest. The largest value here we have is 4, and the smallest value we have is negative 6. So we simply write 4 minus 6, and whenever you subtract the negative, it simply adds. So 4 plus 6 gives us 10. What is the median of the temperatures in the table? Now, when dealing with median, we actually have to arrange them in ascending orders. That means smallest to largest. So smallest, we have negative 6. Then we have negative 5. Then we have negative 1. Then we have 3. And then we have 4. Now, median is the middle, which is negative 1. What percentage of temperatures in the table are lower than 0 degrees? So anything less than 0 is something in negative. So we take all the negative numbers, 1, 2, and 3. So 3 over, what's the total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 temperatures given. And we simply multiply this by 100. Now I can see that 100 is divisible by 5, so that gives us 20. So 3 times 20 is simply 60%. On Saturday of the same week, the temperature recorded in Amsterdam at 6 a.m. was 8 degrees higher than the temperature recorded at 6 a.m. on Friday. What temperature was the temperature recorded in Amsterdam at 6 a.m. on Saturday? So Saturday is 8 degrees higher. So that means whatever value is for Friday, we add 8. Since Friday is already given as negative 6 plus 8 simply gives us 2 degrees Celsius. Question 6. Mikhail has 1,200 grams of cake mixture. He's going to make 3 cakes, A, B, and C. 4/15 of the weight of the cake will be used to make cake A. The rest of the cake mixture will be used to make cake B, given that the ratio of B to C is 3 to 8. Work out the weight of the cake mixture used in each of cake A, B, and C. So actually, for A, it's already given that 4/15 of the total weight is given. So 1,200 times 4 over 15 gives us cake A. We can actually find this out using our calculator. 1,200 times 4 over 15 gives us 320 grams. 320 grams. 320 grams. Now that we actually have cake A, it says here that the rest of the cake mixture will be used to make cake B and C. So that means cake A is made first. So we can actually remove this value from the total value. So 1,200 minus 320 will give the rest of the cake batter. So 1,200 minus 320 gives us 880. So this is what we're left with for cake B and C. The rest of the cake used to make cake B and C goes to the ratio of 3:8. Now, when dealing with ratios, we simply find the total. So 3 plus 8 is equal to 11. Then we simply divide by 11 and multiply it by the ratio we want. So for cake B, it's actually 880 divided by 11 times 3, since it's given here as 3. And then for cake C, it's given to us as 880 divided by 11 times 8. Now we can use our calculator to find the final answers. 880 divided by 11 is 80 times 3. Oops. 3, that's 240 for C, 240 for B, 240. And then we can use this again. So 880 divided by 11 multiplied by 8 gives us 640 grams. Now, just to make sure that our calculations were correct, we can actually add all of them up and they should equal to 1,200. So 320 plus 240 plus 640 should equal 1,200. And we can use a calculator to check this. 640 plus 240 plus 320 gives us 1,200. Yes, we are correct. Question 7. Here are 5 times in a single day using the 24-hour clock. So this is in military time. Write down the letter of the time nearest to 6 p.m., which is 1800 in military time. So we can see that here that 11:53 is about midday, but it's still 6 hours away from 6 p.m. 15:20 is about 40 minutes from 6 p.m. 8:20 is about 10 hours from 6 p.m. 18:12 is 12 minutes from 6 p.m. and 14:45 is 1 hour 15 minutes from 6 p.m. and the smallest difference is D. So we simply write here D. Work out the difference in hours and minutes between time A and then time E. We can simply find this by subtracting time E with time A. But since we have two formats here, we have hours and minutes. We have to convert all hours into minutes, do our calculation, and return it back to normal. So we can see here 16, 1 hour is equivalent to 60 minutes. So we can see here 16 times 60 plus 45 minus 11 times 60 plus 53 should give us the total amount of time in minutes. We start off with bracket 16 times 60 plus 45, close the bracket, subtract 11 times 60 plus 53 gives us 292. 292. So to convert this from hours to minutes, we simply divide by 60, divide by 60. We get 4.86. Now, we do not want the fraction. We simply want the hour. So we write here hours is 4. Now we know how many hours is inside 292. We can simply write 292 minus 4 times 60 will give us our amount of minutes. So we can write here 292 minus 4 times 60. This gives us 52 minutes. Francesco uses the rule below to find the time in minutes to cook a chicken in his oven. Multiply the weight of the chicken by 40 times 40 and then add 15. The clock on Francesco's oven shows time B. So time B is given to us as 15:20 right here. He stops cooking the chicken when the clock on his oven shows time E. So that is 16:45. Work out the weight of the chicken. Now, it's given to us that the final time is time E, so we can write that down as 16:45. We then have to subtract time B, so we can find the total amount of minutes elapsed, 15:20. This gives us 85 minutes. So now we know how long the cooking time was. We can use the equation weight times 40 plus 15 is equal to 85. We can bring 85 to the other side. So 40W is equal to 85 minus 15. We divide both sides by 40. And we can use a calculator to get our final answer as 85 minus 15, then divided by 40. This gives us 1.75 kilograms. 1.75 kilograms. Use Francesco's rule to write down a formula in time t minutes to cook a chicken of weight k kilograms. So we use the same formula, but we, instead of writing a value, we simply write the variable k, then we times it by 40, and then we add 15. This gives us t. Now we can actually simplify 40 times k to 40k plus 15 is equal to t. And then we can write here t is equal to 40k plus 15. Question 8. In Berlin, a costs 120 euros. In Dubai, the same model costs 600 dirhams. The currency exchange rates are given. Find the difference between the watch in Berlin and the watch in Dubai. Give your answer in pounds, correct to 2 decimals. So if we have to give our answer in pounds, we have to convert both the watch in Berlin and the watch in Dubai to pounds. How do we do that? Well, let's start off with Berlin since it's the easier one. We can see that exchange rate is 1.16 euros is to 1 pound. And we can see here that we have 120 euros is equivalent to an unknown pound. We can simply multiply both sides by x and divide by 1.16. That gives us as 120 divided by 1.16. So therefore, we can find the price of the Berlin watch in pounds. Let's see. 120 divided by 1.16. That gives us 3,000 over 29. 3,000 over 29. Now, to find the watch price in dirhams to pounds, we have to first convert to euros. So we can write here 0.24 euros is to 1 dirham, and an unknown is to 600 dirhams. So we can simply multiply both sides by 600. That gives us as x is equal to 600 times 0.24. So let's see what that is. 600 times 0.24 gives us 144. 144. But this is the price in euros. We want it in pounds. And to find it in pounds, we simply divide by 1.16 again. So 1.16. So we have to find out what this value is divided by 1.16. So 3,600 over 29. 3,600 over 29. Now to find the difference, we simply subtract 3,600 over 29 minus 3,000 over 29. Since they have the same base, I can go ahead and subtract. That gives us 600 over 29. And now I can find our answer. 600 divided by 29 gives us 20.68. 20.689. Correct to 2 decimal places. So we look here. This is a 9. And we follow the rule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 to 4 we round down. 5 to 9 we round up. And 9 we round up. So our answer is 20.69. Question 9. The scale diagram shows the positions of a post office and a police station. Measure the bearing B from A. So if we continue a line here, starting from A, we move clockwise. We find this to be 107 degrees. Always remember to use your protractor or ruler in the exam. The town hall is at position C. The bearing of A is 0.45 degrees. So it's about here, 45. Calculate the bearing of C from A. So what it's asking is, what is this angle? We can actually find this out by noticing that if we continue this line, this angle is congruent to this angle. So this is 45 degrees. So that means when a line is 180 degrees, we subtract 45, we can find this angle. And if we can find that angle, we can then subtract it from 360 to find this angle. So 180 minus 45 is equal to 135. Now that we have 135, we know that a circle is 360 degrees. So we can simply subtract 360 minus 135, and we can use a calculator to get our answer. 360 minus 135 gives us 225 degrees. Question 10. Here is a list of ingredients needed to make 24 currant buns. Gina needs to make 60 currant buns, but the recipe only goes for 24 currant buns. Work out the weight of the butter Gina needs. So we can see here that butter is 100 grams. So for 24 currant buns is equivalent to 100 grams. Then that means for 60 currant buns is equivalent to an unknown amount of grams. We can actually multiply both sides by x, and multiply by 100. So that means that when we divide by 24, 60 times 100 divided by 24 should give us our value. So let's calculate this. 60 times 100 divided by 24 gives us 250 grams of butter. 250 grams. Hans wants to make 30 currant buns. Find the percentage increase in the weight of butter needed to make 30 currant buns as opposed to 24 currant buns. So first we need to find the amount of weightage for 30 currant buns. So again, we use the same formula. 24 is to 100. And here for 30 currant buns is equal to x. So that means it is 100 times 30 divided by 24. Let's use our calculator. 100 times 30 divided by 24 gives us 125. So Hans uses 125 grams of butter, but we need to know the percentage increase, and we simply follow the formula new minus old over old times 100. So the new value is 125. The old value is given as 100. Now we divide by the old value, which is 100, and we multiply that by 100. And we can use a calculator to get our answer. 125 minus 100 divided by 100 and times 100 simply cancels out. So we get a 25% increase. Question 11. W is equal to 5y squared minus y3 cubed. Work out the value of y when y is equal to -2. So we can simply write this out. W is equal to 5 into -2 squared into -2 cubed. Now, when we multiply a negative times a negative, we get a positive. But when we multiply a negative times a negative times a negative, that equals a negative. So what does that mean? So when we have a negative value that is being multiplied by itself, and the power is even, it results in an even number. Let's see. W is equal to 5 times -2 times -2 is equal to +4. Okay, so +4. Minus, now -2 to the power of 3. 3 is an odd number, so we can see that it's going to be odd in the end. Let's test that. -2 times -2 is equal to 4. We multiply by -2 again, and we get -8. So it'll be negative. So -8. Now we close the bracket and we can calculate. W is equal to 5 times 4, so that's 20, minus a negative. So when you minus a negative, you simply add. So that means W is equal to 20 plus 8, which is 28. Factorize fully 8p squared minus 2p. I can see that p and 2 have the highest common factor of 2. So I can write here 2. P and p squared, when dealing with powers and variables, we need to take the smallest power. So here we have p to the power of 2 and p to the power of 1. So we simply write p to the power of 1. Now that we have done everything, we can factorize. 8 divided by 2 is 4. P squared divided by p is simply p squared divided by p1 is the same as p2 minus 1, which is simply p. -2 divided by 2 is -1, and we have p to the power of 1 divided by p to the power of 1. That's equal to p to the power of 0, and anything to the power of 0 is simply equal to 1. So -1 times 1 is simply -1. So we can close that, and our final answer is 2p into 4p -1. Expand 4t into 3t minus 2. Now, when expanding polynomials, we have to multiply to everything inside the bracket. 4 times 3 is 12, and t times t is simply t1 plus 1, so that's t squared. Then 4 times -2 is -8, multiplied by t is -8t. So we get 12t squared -8t. expand and simplify, we're going to be using the FOIL method, where F stands for first, O stands for outside, I stands for inside, and L stands for last. Let's get going. 5x times x is 5x squared. Now, outside, 5x times 4 is plus 20x. I is inside, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. L is last, so negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Now we combine all the like terms. 5x squared plus 20 minus 2 is 18x minus 8. So we can write here 15x squared plus 18x minus 8. Question 12. The diagram shows a rectangle and a semicircle, semicircles being 1/2 of a circle, with diameter AB, where AB is 12 centimeters. The point E lies on DC and also on the semicircle. Work out the area of the shaded region. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So first off, we can see that it's a square minus half a circle. So first off, how do we find the area of a rectangle? It is length times width. However, width is not given. All we're given is diameter, but as we can see, A to B diameter is simply equal to 2r. And since diameter is 12, we divide both sides by 2, and radius is given to us as 6. So that means the width from here is actually 6. So length times width is 12 times 6. Now we have to subtract the area of the semicircle. So an area of a regular circle is pi r squared. Since this is a semicircle, exactly half of one, we simply put a half here. So we're going to subtract a half pi, and the radius we already found as 6 squared. So we can put this into a calculator to find our final answer. We start off with bracket 12 times 6, bracket, subtract 1 over 2 into pi into 6 squared. And then we close the bracket. We get 15.45. 15.45 to 3 significant figures. So that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 to 4 we round down. 5 to 9 we round up. And since this is 5, we round up. So we get 15.5 centimeters squared. Question 13. Solve 5 into 2x minus 3 is equal to 20. Show clear algebraic working. Now when multiplying polynomials, we always multiply to everything inside the bracket. So 5 times 2x is 10x, and 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Now equate this to 20. Now we can put all like terms together. We bring 15 to the other side. So 10x is equal to 20 plus 15. 10x is equal to 20 plus 15 is 35. Then we divide both sides by 10, divide by 10. This cancels out. And when dividing by 10, we move the decimal to the left by 1. So x is simply 3.5. So question 14, we have a list of sets. List the members of the sets A intersection B. So intersection kind of looks like a bridge. And what happens when you bridge a conversation? You find what's common. So what's common between A and B? Let's see here. A has 22, B does not. A has 24, B does. A has 26, B does not. A has 28, B does not. A has 30, and B does. So we can simply write this as 24 and 30. Always make sure to have no repeats. Not A. So not A is everything outside of A. So we can simply write every single thing that does not include A. So we can see here we have 22. So we can remove 22, and 22 is not in B. 24. So we have to remove 24, 24. 26, 26, 27, and 30. So everything that is not marked out, we simply write. So we have 21. Remember, no repeats. 21, 23, 25, 28, 29. C is 23, 25, and 29. Use set notation to find expression for C in terms of A. So first off, I can see that C is not A because 23, 25, and 29 are not visible here. It is also not visible in B. So I know that it has something to do with not A and not B. But it's also a common thing between A and B. And when dealing with commons, it's an intersection. So our answer is A not intersection B not. Question 15, simplify 3k squared whole to the power of 4. Now we can actually put power 4 to everything. 3 to the power of 4, k to the power. Now, any power inside the bracket is multiplied by the power outside the bracket. So it's 2 times 4. 3 to the power of 4 is 81. K to the power of 2 times 4, we can write that as k8. So 81k to the power of 8. Simplify 21m to the power of 4n divided by 3n negative 5. So we can simply write here 3n negative 5. And 21 divided by 3 is simply 7. M to the power of 4 cannot be divided, so we simply write that as is. M to the power of 4. And we can see here that n to the power of negative 5 and to the power of n both have the same base n. So we can write this as n divided by n negative 5. N actually has an invisible power of 1. And when dividing powers, we simply subtract. So this is equal to 1 minus 5. And when you subtract the negative number, you always add. So n 1 plus 5, n to the power of 6. So we get n to the power of 6. 7 m to the power of 4, n to the power of 6. Question 16. Here is a shape P drawn on a grid of squares. On the grid, rotate shape P 180 degrees about the point negative 3, 2. So negative 3, 2. This is our point of rotation. Label the new shape Q. Now, when dealing with rotation, it actually maintains its distance. So let's see here. So if we start with this point, if it's 3 to the left and 4 up, it will still be 3 to the left and 4 up. Note that this only happens when you rotate 180 degrees. If it's more than, it'll still maintain its distance, but it'll just end up farther. Now, we can erase this. We start with the next point, which is 6 to the left and 4 up. So that means it's 6 to the left and 4 up. So we can remove that. The next point is 7 down. So this must be 7 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And now for the last point, it will end up here. Notice how the shape is exactly the same. If the height, this part, is 3, this will also be 3. And we label this shape Q. Now, going on to the next question. On the grid, translate shape P by the vector 10 over 8. So we're dealing with P again. Label the new shape R. Okay, now when dealing with vectors, the top part is the X. So either left or right. And the bottom part is up or down. Now, if it's positive, it's to the right. If it's negative, it's to the left. If it's positive, it's up. If it's negative, it's down. So 10 will start on the horizontal. It's positive. So that means it's 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 8 is positive, so we go 8 up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we put a little cross here. But notice how we only translate the shape. That means the shape does not change in any size. It remains the same. So we can actually just draw it exactly as is. If this is 3 down, we can simply write 3 down. If this is 3 across, we can simply write 3 across. And this is 6 across, we can write 6 across. We simply connect the lines, and we write here shape R. Here are triangle T and triangle U drawn on a group of squares. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle T onto triangle Q. So we can see that T goes by enlargement by a certain factor. So let's write here enlargement. Now we can actually count the sides of T. So this is 2 and this is 4. So that means 2 times an unknown is equal to 4. If we divide both sides by 2, that means the enlargement is by a factor of 2. So we can write enlargement by a factor of 2. And now we have to write the point at which it enlarges. So we can actually draw lines connecting these. Try to use a ruler if possible. And the point at which they intersect is the point of enlargement. So this point is negative 3, 3. On the point negative 3, 3. 17. On Wednesday, the price of petrol was 1.26 pounds. The price of petrol on Wednesday was 5% more than the price of petrol on the previous Monday. Calculate the price of 30 liters of petrol on the previous Monday. So firstly, we have to calculate what the price of petrol per liter was on Monday. Then we can calculate for every 30 liters. So firstly, 5% more than the price of the previous Monday. So that means 5 was added to the total 100%. So that means we have 105 is equivalent to 1.26. So we can actually write 1.26 divided by 105. We want to find the whole again, so we simply write times 100. Now this will be the price for 1 liter. We can use our calculator here. 1.26 divided by 105 times 100. That will simply give us 1.2. 1.2. However, this is the price per 1 liter. Per 1 liter. In order to find the price of 30 liters, we simply multiply 1.2 times 30. That will give us 1.2 times 30 is equivalent to 36 pounds. Thanks for question 18. The shaded region R shown in the diagram below is bounded by the straight line with the equation y is equal to 3x minus 2 and two other straight lines. Write down the three inequalities that define the region R. So firstly, let's label these lines. One of them is already given as y is equal to 3x minus 2. Now, if we look at this line, it's perfectly perpendicular to the x-axis. So it must mean here, 3, x is equal to 3. Moving on, we can find that this line is perfectly perpendicular to the y-axis, which is at 1. So that means y is equal to 1. But we're not done yet. When dealing with inequalities, if it is going up or to the right, it's greater than equal to. If it is going down or to the left, it is less than equal to. So let's start off with the answer they gave us. Y is equal to 3x minus 2. It is going down into R. So we can simply write y is less than equal to 3x minus 2. And then we'll do the next one we found, which is x is equal to 3. It is going to the left. Now it's going to the left. It is less than equal to. So when x is less than equal to 3. Now for the final one, y is equal to 1. We can see that it goes up into R. So we can write y is greater than or equal to 1. And that's our final answer. Question 19. The table gives the length of the coastline in kilometers of each of 5 oceans. Which ocean has the greatest length of the coastline? So I can see here that all have a base 10 to different powers. If I can find one with the greatest power, I can then find the greatest length. Notice how these both have to the power of 5, but they are two different numbers. And 1.357 is greater than the Atlantic. So we can write here the Pacific has the greatest length. So Pacific. Calculate the difference between the length of the Atlantic Ocean and the length of the Southern Ocean's coastline. Give your answer in standard form. Okay, so we can see here that Atlantic is 1.119 times 10 to the power of 5 minus Southern, which is 1.797 times 10 to the power of 4. Notice how they don't have the same base. We can actually change that by moving the decimal to the left and adding 1 to the power. So 1.119 times 10 to the power of 5 minus 0.1797 times 10 to the power of 5. Now we can actually put this into a calculator and find our answer. 1.119 minus 0.1797. That gives us 0.9393. So we can write here 0.9393 times 10 to the power of 5. However, we have to put it in standard form. And standard form is anything between 1 and 9.99. So we simply bring this to the right, and that means the power is minus 1. So our final answer is 9.393 times 10 to the power 4. 20. Solve x squared minus 21x plus 20 is equal to 0. Show you're working clearly. We're going to be using finding the square method, where we multiply the coefficient of x and the constant. So here this is 1. 1 times 20 is 20. What are we trying to do? We're trying to find two values that when multiplied equal 20, but when added together equal negative 21. And I can see here that a factor of 20 is 1 and a factor of 20 is 2, but it has to be negative. So I can put here negative and negative. How does this work? So negative 1 times negative 20 is still equal to 20, but negative 1 plus negative 20 is equal to negative 21. So we can simply write here x squared minus 1x minus 20x plus 20 is equal to 0. So here we can actually factorize. So we can write here x is into x minus 1. And here we can write x into x minus 1 negative 20. So that gives us, when we combine this, x negative 20 and x minus 1. But we have to solve it. So we have to equate this to 0. So x minus 20 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to 20. When x minus 1 is equal to 0, therefore x is equal to 1. So we can write here x is equal to 1, x is equal to 20. Question 21. A mathematics teacher at a school asked a group of students how far in kilometers each student had traveled to get to school that day. The table gives information about their answers. The table calculated that an estimate for the mean distance traveled by the whole group of students is 4.25 kilometers. Work out the value of x. Now, when given a table like this, we simply take the middle value. So 0 to 2, the middle is 1. 2 to 4, that's 3. 4 to 6, that's 5. 6 to 8, that's 7. And 8 to 10, that's 9. Now, if we're able to multiply this by the number of students, we can then get the total. And we know that the mean is equal to total divided by quantity. So 1 times x is simply x. Now we add 3 times 11, that's 33. Then we add 5 times 8, which is 40. Then we add 7 times 6, which is 56. And 9 times 5, which is 45. That means 160 plus x is our total. Then we have to divide that by the total amount of students. So here, 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 11 plus x, because we still don't know what x is. Then we multiply this by the mean in order to get the total. So we multiply this by 4.25. And we can actually simplify this. 160 plus x is equal to 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 11. We have 30. So is equal to 30 plus x into 4.25. And we can simplify this further. 160 plus x is equal to 30 times 4.25, which is 127.5 plus 4.25x. We can bring x to the other side and 127.5 to the other side. So we get 160 minus 127.5 is equal to 4.25x minus 1x. So that gives us 160 minus our answer is 32.5. 32.5. 4.25 minus 1 is simply 3.25x. We divide both sides by 3.25 to find x, 3.25. Therefore, if we use our calculator once again, we can find our final answer. 32.5 divided by 3.25 gives us 10. That means 10 students walked the distance of 0 to 1 to 2 kilometers. Thanks for watching. Cram, then scram.